This. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. Um, how's everyone doing? My name is Yannis Banks. I'm the community outreach manager for Metro Rapid and the Green Line for the Austin Transit Partnership, as well as Pickup, which is our on-demand service. And I'll get into that a little bit later for at CapMetro. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about Project Connect. I have a few PowerPoints I'm going to be showing you because what we've done is we're broken down because the orange and blue is so big. It was hard to do one PowerPoint with all of it. So we've broken it down into different segments so we can have this conversation with you. So, but just the quick overview of Project Connect. What you're seeing here is the system plan that was adopted last year, June 10th, 2020, showing what we wanted to do for this system plan. This is not the initial investment, but Project Connect as a whole, where you can see the purple lines will be our Metro Rapid routes, which will come every 10 to 15 minutes. That red line is the current train. The green line will be another commuter train that we will get going. Of course, there's the orange and the blue line, which you've heard quite a bit about over the past few days, or past few months, I should say. And then there will be the gold line as well, which will be a Metro Rapid route, which eventually we plan to turn into light rail as well. And this is just some history of transit in Austin. This is the 1839 water plan. This is kind of the original plan of how transit was working in Austin. Just giving you a little brief history to see how we've grown. This is the 1938. This is the Great Passenger Rail. I'm sorry, the rail we used to have going through downtown. As a matter of fact, if you've been on 4th Street and over by Guadalupe and even by Republic Square, you can kind of see some of the tracks that's still in the ground or is in the street. So we've had rail before in downtown Austin. And here's where some of the streetcars were happening in the 1800s to the 1940s, where we've had streetcars. And here's, we can't talk about doing public transit without acknowledging the 1928 Austin Master Plan. We know how that plan segregated the city, where you had the street that's now 35 that was separated and segregated the city, where you have people of color east of that street. And we have to recognize where we've come from as we're trying to make this better. And it's not something we're shying away from. Now, this is the policies and plans that were used in making and designing Project Connect. We worked with the Downtown Austin Plan, the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan, and the Austin Strategic Mobility Plan, which was adopted 2019. And so this is what helped shape, as well as community feedback, which helped shape Project Connect. And this is once again the system plan. And now our goal for Project Connect is to have a high quality mobility experience for everybody. We want everybody to be accessible, and so that everybody has a chance to use the system and get around where they need to go. Whether you're elderly, disabled, you're trying to go to the airport, you're able-bodied, you're riding a bike, you have kids. We want everybody to be able to use this and it be something that's going to be beneficial to the community. Now, here's just an example of what the light rail could look like. As we're talking about what it could be, you can see the example of the right-of-way elements here, where we have, bike lanes, we have some trees set up. This is what the station platforms could look like. We're still in the design phase of what these things will look like, but you can see you have some shelter. There will be some amenities. You'll buy your tickets to get on. You'll buy your tickets and scan them before you get on the train. We'll have, the turn lanes so vehicles can still move. We would have to get rid of some of the left turning lanes, depending on like if you've been used to turning here, you would no longer be able to turn left here. You would need to just come up, do a U-turn and turn into that parking lot. But there will be some turn lanes. We'll have some bike paths. We'll have some travel lanes. And we'll have tree canopies as well as pedestrian amenities. Looking to upgrade some of the sidewalks that are out there as well and make sure we have connections to get to the train stations. Now, not all of them will be center running. This is just kind of an example of a center running. There will be some elevated parts of the platform of the system. There will be some times where the light rail is on the left or right side. And as you've heard many times, there will be some underground tunneling as well with some tunnel stations. This is the sequence plan of the time frame we're looking to get this to be built out. As you can see, we got it built in for 9 years to do the orange and light rail, because it takes a long time. When you have this first year, it's just doing the NEPA and preliminary engineering. And then, starting next year, we'll work on the final design, and then we'll get to the construction part. We want to do this as fast as possible, but we want to make sure we do it as safe and as efficient as possible. And so that if we're able to speed up at any place, we will. But realistically, it's going to take about 9 years to get this built. Commuter rail, of course, the red line is already built out, so we'll be looking to do some upgrades to it, whether it's some new stations or some double tracking. New stations being at McCalla and Broadmoor. McCalla, of course, is the soccer stadium, and Broadmoor is where IBM and other places are up by the domain, and that will come with a parking lot where people can then park and catch the train. So it will replace the Kramer station, if you're familiar with that one. We would shut that station down because right now there's nowhere, if you want to catch the Kramer, there's really nowhere to park but on the street. And so this would kind of help alleviate that. And then we would start working on the Green Line, which will be the commuter rail that goes from downtown Austin out to Colony Park. We'll start the NEPA process on that and design and construction. We already own that train track that's going out to Colony Park. It would just be a matter of upgrading the tracks, doing some PTC, positive train control, which is required by the federal government, which helps make the tracks safer. And then, of course, acquiring some more trains to run on that. So, and then our Metro Rapid, we're in phase 1. We've already started the NEPA process, and we're looking to do some final design and break ground on it by end of this year, early next year, and have those routes going. And I'll show you which one those are.
My son's name is Pearson, and his date of birth is June 28th, 2006.
I can't really hear you if you're asking a question.
Yeah, Yumi, if you could get just a little bit closer to the microphone, it just sounds like you're a little bit far away. Oh, Yumi, did you have a question?
I have a question.
Sure.
Yannis, hi, this is Ivan, Central Health. So as we're looking at the sequence plan, where are we? 2021, where are we? Year 1? Or, okay.
Yeah, we're here. And we're here for the light rail parts. We're still here. We're at 15% design. So this will be year 1. Then this will happen in year 2 and year 3.
Okay.
So it gets a little confusing, I know. Same for the light rail. You can see how it's kind of blended in with the dark blue and the blue. We're going to start breaking ground on some of the double tracking, I believe, later on this year, as well as McCalla and the Broadmoor, and with the goal to be finished by McCalla by, I believe, 2022, and Broadmoor as well, 2023, and still do some of the double tracking. So yeah, this is kind of the year 1 for that. Metro Express and our parking rides, we're looking at what we're going to do for those. We've already rolled out 3 new pickup zones, or 2 new pickup zones, and I will talk about those in a second. And we're working with our groups to figure out how we're going to do the anti-displacement investments. We've created with the city of Austin, our CAC, the Community Advisory Committee, which is kind of over how that money will be spent to help with anti-displacements. And so they've been meeting. They meet once a month, and you can go to CapMetro website, CapMetro.org, or even projectconnect.com to see when the next CAC meeting is happening. They're open to the public, so we definitely want to hear from the community, but they'll be in charge of helping to figure out how that money is going to be spent to help with anti-displacement, because that's something we're definitely focused on. We want to mitigate that as best as possible, whether it comes to businesses being displaced or people out their homes, because we understand what businesses can mean to the community. And here's some of the program administration of what we've been doing, just how it's been happening, where we are up to now. We're here. Actually, next month, we'll be doing the joint partnership agreement with the city of Austin. We'll have some more stakeholder meetings on that in September. They have their work session, and we'll have a voting on that in October. So we're starting that process for the joint powers agreement between City of Austin, ATP, and CapMetro staff. We'll be approving the budget for the ATP and CapMetro. Will be approved next month. There was just a budget presentation done. When it comes to ATP is the Austin Transit Partnership, and it was formed last November, basically when the vote was done to approve Project Connect. So in December, it was kind of officially formed between the city of Austin and CapMetro, and been slowly but surely, actually been really fast staffing up the Austin Transit Partnership with 30 positions filled and more to come. The thing about this program, and it is going to create a lot of jobs. Here we're talking about the Red Line, McCalla Station, which once again is where the soccer stadium is. Here's the work that's been getting on. We're looking at real estate management plan right now of what land do we need to develop a train station there. We're gonna do the preliminary engineering and the safety analysis to make sure that we're gonna do this safely. For the Broadmoor station, we're working with the neighbors there, trying to see what's the best way this is gonna work. And we're coordinating with the Urban Trail team on the Red Line as well. Broadmoor is a partnership with Broadmoor. It's the company that owns that property. And so they want to revamp that area. And then part of that process, they wanted to be able to build a train station there for the Red Line, since it does go by it, where their employees can use, but also the community can come and park and catch the train as well, which is something we didn't have at the Kramer station. And then the Lake Line to Leander, we'll be doing some double tracking on our Metro rail line. And so we have the design that's complete, and that track construction actually is going to be starting about the middle of next month or so. So that's going to be exciting. There's going to be more double tracking that's happening along the Red Line, but what that will allow us to do once we've built out all the double tracking is to have the train run more frequent and more often. Which is something we hear from people all the time of it needs to run longer, it needs to run more frequent. And right now, because we don't have double tracking along the whole line, there's only so much we can do. Plus it's shared with freight, but once we have this double tracking, we can provide a better service with the Red Line. Metro Rapid, the two that will be rolling out first will be the Expo in Pleasant Valley. Expo would run from the Expo Center into downtown Austin. The Pleasant Valley will come from Mueller and run all the way to South Austin by the Goodnight Ranch area. Now I can show you where that is as well. Some of the milestones we have, we did get approved, or we did get recommended to be included in the president's fiscal 22 annual budget, which was a very big step to getting funding for these two lines. It's not the official budget yet, but we're in the budget to be approved. So we're excited about that. We have a design consultant selected. So we will be working on building our Metro Rapid stations. They will look different from what we currently have as a Metro Rapid station. And so we've even added some stops to the original plans for Expo and Pleasant Valley based off of community feedback we got back in February timeframe. We're still, doing location and guideway coordination with the city of Austin, and we're looking at and working on getting some more buses, as we'll need more buses to operate these lines. And we expect to do once again shovels in the ground by the end of December to start building out the stations and whatever amenities and road treatments we're going to need to make sure the service is able to move. And then we'll be working on the gold line as well. The gold line was that little U, and I'll show that one again. It's kind of work downtown and get into South Austin. It's going to start out as Metro Rapid with the plan to make it a light rail in the future. And then we'll be at 803 extension. Right now, the 803 goes to our Westgate station, and we plan to run it further southwest, which is something that we've been needing to do for a while. And so we're going to extend it out to from Burnett to Menchaca, as well as to Oak Hill. So we're working on that. Blue and Orange line, we've been having meetings this whole year, starting in January. We've been holding scoping meetings. Have been, all of it, unfortunately, has been online because of where we are. We were planning to do some in-person meetings actually last month, but because of, actually this month, but because of the uptick for COVID, we had to pull back. But we have our community guidance committees formed. We've been filing what we need to with the federal government. Where we are now is looking at the resources field work. We're drafting the environmental impact statement, and we're reaching out to businesses we're reaching out to businesses for right away, saying, there could be an impact to your business by this light rail coming through. It could be, as small as a parking lot being taken or needing to be taken, or maybe needing to relocate a business. But we're at 15% design right now, and we're reaching out to them, letting them know that this is what could be happening, but nothing is final yet. And here's the engineering phase of it. We've been busy. It's been an ongoing process. Not too much in the technical side, but if you remember earlier this year, you may have seen that vehicle on Town Lake, kind of doing the boring and getting a sample reading. And so we are heavy into the technical side of the program. For pickup is our on-demand service. I like it. It's actually pretty cool. We can pick you up within 15 minutes and drop you off anywhere in those different pickup zones that we have. We just launched our Dessa zone on June 15th. Our South Manchac just launched on July 27th. And next week we'll be launching, in 2 weeks, we'll be launching our North Oak Hill zone, which we're excited about. And so we're reaching out to the community. We're getting it integrated with our app even more. We'll have dashboards or information where the community can find out how stuff is working. But pickup, we have these different zones. I think we have about 9 or 10 of them at the moment. And within them zones, it's like Uber, Lyft, but for public transit, where this vehicle will come pick you up within 15 minutes and drop you off wherever you want to go in that zone for the price of bus fare. Or if you have a bus pass, your bus pass will work. And so it's pretty cool. And it's a way we're trying to connect that last mile and bridging the gap of where maybe our buses don't make sense or won't work. We can do a vehicle just like that, just like this pickup vehicle to get you there. And so this is just what Project Connect is made of. It's the Austin Transit Partnership, the ATP, which is how you'll hear it referred to. Their job or our role is to help create and get these lines going. The orange, the blue, subway, the green line, and facilities. CapMetro will do what it's always been doing, and that's the operation of the vehicles, whether it's our buses, our trains, pickup, and working with the city of Austin. We're working with them to, they own the roads. And so stuff we need to do in the streets, we need to make sure we're partnered with them, as well as getting to some of the treatments we're going to need to help Metro Rapid run. And they are over the anti-displacement investments. And so we'll be working closely with the city of Austin on that. At the end of the day, we want to help move people around. And that's the whole goal of Project Connect, is to help move people around, help move you around your city as we're growing. We got businesses coming here every day. Apple is adding their second campus, what have you. So people are moving here. It's going to be a large number of people. We got to help move them, as well as help move the people who are here, to whether it's to better jobs or to where they need to go for food, for the doctor's office, what have you. And so that's just kind of a rundown of Project Connect as a whole. And I can answer any questions you have about any of the lines. I do have some more in-depth information about the orange and blue line if you want to do that as well. They're both kind of long because it's a lot. But one thing I will say when it comes to the orange and blue is that, here's what the blue line would look like. Ideally, it would run from Republic Square into the airport. And even you can do a connection with the orange at it's Republic Square underground or downtown, we should say now. It's downtown. So you can do that and connect to the orange line, which could then get you up to the North Lamar Transit Center. One of the things that we have to pay attention to when it comes to, and this is just how it would look, when we're building out the different segments of the orange or blue line, I think there's been a lot of talk about what's going to happen downtown, whether it be an extra tunnels or more bridges. Right now for the blue line, we will be doing we'll be doing a bridge across the lake. And that will be, it will be a bridge that will have, pedestrian and bike amenities, so you can cross that as well. And so that's going to be, interesting to do. For the orange line, we will probably have to dig underground, dig under the lake, just because of if doing a bridge here where it would have to come down in elevation, it wouldn't work, unfortunately. And so we're looking at having to do an extra tunnel underneath Lady Bird Lake and have it moving. So, but yeah, with that, I will be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
I'll go ahead and ask a question.
Sure.
I know like a really big thing, especially like historically in Austin, is, just rising rent prices, kind of pushing people out of their homes that have, been around for generations, and they just can no longer afford the rent. What are the I guess anticipated impacts of these lines are going through like more underserved communities and connecting them better, but what are the anticipated impacts in terms of like property prices because of that? I would expect that it would make the property more desirable and therefore more expensive, but I don't know to what degree.
I may have to have you re-ask that question because it was like shouting and whatnot was going on when you were doing that.
Yes, sorry about that. Essentially, having these rails go through these like underserved communities, I imagine will, it will connect them better to the transit system, but I would also anticipate that it brings up rent prices. And I was wondering what the anticipated degree, or how much y'all anticipate that to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair question. Truthfully, we don't know. But part of what we're trying to do to help mitigate it is working with that anti-displacement fund and working with the city and seeing what can be done to try to keep people in their homes where they are, try to keep businesses where they are. We already know rent is going up in Austin every month, every day, unfortunately, and that's driven by people who have been moving here, and so we're trying to do what we can as far as on our part, not to raise up rent too much where this could impact it. But I don't have an idea of how much it may raise rent just over this time. But we're going to do all that we can to help keep people where they are, because displacement is the last thing we want to see happen. We want this system that we're building out for people who are living there currently to get the benefit of it, and people who are moving in there to get the benefit of it, and to have it, make sure that it's reflective of the community.
Yannis, what are the anticipated prices, like costs for the different rails?
Sure.
CapMetro going to have like a monthly card, like how there is now for the bus rails? Are students going to be able to ride it for free?
Yeah, that all that is still being worked out. That will be a decision that the board makes. I'm pretty sure that we'll keep to what we've been doing, the monthly pass, the weekly pass, the daily pass, what have you. And so right now, students can ride for free, K through 12. Different universities can ride for free, UT, ACC. I think, what's that one that's South Congress? St. Edwards. They just worked out something where some of them can ride for free. But right now, that's something that the board is going to be thinking through and working through. And that's going to be part of the process of, what we're hearing from the community of what you would like to see with the fares. Right now, our fares are about the second lowest in the country for a city of our size. And so we're doing fairly well on our fare prices. But that's all to be determined.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else have any questions for Yannis? This was a really great presentation. I think a couple people jumped on a little bit later. Can you go back to that slide of, I think it was a photo of downtown of that rail? That was a really good one. Just to show like the visual.
This photo, which one you said?
I think it was, let me see.
So that's the original. That's what that looked like.
It's like slide 10, maybe.
Slide 10. Oh,
Oh, yes.
what it could look like. Sure.
Yeah,
So
just
that's
interesting.
Yeah, that's just one concept of how it can be done. Like I said, there's going to be times where it's center running, times where it's going to be underground, times when it'll be above ground, and times where it could be on the left or right side of the street, just depending on the right of way, which they'll call row, but that stands for right of way. Just depending on how wide it is or how narrow it is. We're working with what we have, and that's the thing that we're trying not to be as disruptive as possible. And also, we understand that not everybody is going to be able to ride the buses or the train. We understand that, so we know that, we want to try to limit the damage we do to the travel lanes as much as possible. Make sure that the cars that can still go, and there won't be any pinch points, but also make sure that our vehicles can move as well. And so that's the dance, the tightrope that we're walking on, is how can we make sure this is beneficial for everybody, with the understanding that, not everybody will be able to or may want to ride the public transit, and we need to make sure that they're able to get around too as well.
Perfect, thank you. And so I see Amanda's raising her hand, and then Isela, I believe, had a question right after that.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Yannis. This was really informative. It's great to see everything kind of the plan spelled out so clearly. So thank you. I did have a follow-up question on the anti-displacement fund you were referencing earlier. Do you know the timeline for when that will be? Like I'm assuming they're doing some research and work on what it should look like right now, or do you know when it will sort of be ready to roll out, or where we can get more information about that? And do you know if that 3 million is going to be used like to direct pay? Like, are those direct payments to individuals that could potentially be impacted? Like their homes are in areas nearby, or how does that fund work?
Sure. So it's 300 million. Just to be clear, it's a lot more than the 3 million. But so what you're seeing now, hopefully you're seeing now, is the CAC and when they are meeting, and that's what they're working on. That's what they're going to work out. Is the question that you asked? How will it how will this money be used? Will it be payments to help people stay in? Will it be, whatever they can think of? There's no option that's kind of off the table. It's guided by people from the community. And so they applied to be on the committee about late last year. And between Austin Transit Partnership Board, City of Austin, and CapMetro, they picked the people to be on the committee who applied. And so here are the advisory committee. Well, that's the bylaws. I'm sorry. But the advisory committee members are, there we go, can be found on the page as well. There's the meeting agenda. Here are the people that are a part of that advisory committee. And these
I didn't
committees,
see any of that.
Sorry, can you
They're not-
share your screen?
sorry.
No worries.
Yep, I guess I hit something and messed that up. Let me get back to it. Here we go. Boom, that's better. Here are the members of the advisory committee. I think I just shared the link to, well, I shared something in the chat. It might have been to pick up though. But if you go to projectconnect.com and do get involved, you can click on the community advisory committee. It'll get you to this page. And these are your members who are making up the CAC, Community Advisory Committee, that's going to help decide how that money is going to be used. Some of them came from these committees from the city already, as well as our 2 advisory committees. And we've had, 4 meetings already with a 5th one coming up. Here are all the upcoming meeting dates. They are open to the public. If you want to, participate in the committee meetings, you can email feedback@projectconnect.com, and we can get your feedback there, or you can even participate in the meetings and give, thoughts that how you would like to see that money spent. There's also is a equity scorecard that was created by the equity office that they will be using as well to help decide how some of this is going to be doing. And this has a lot of the questions, the FAQs, what they may advise on, who made it up, what have you. And so they're going to be doing a lot of that work. And we strongly recommend for those who are available, who are able to attend the meeting. But even if you can't attend the meeting, you can still submit your feedback to that email. And so you'll be able to, and then we also have the video of the meeting. So if you want to go back and see how the meetings went, what was said, we'll have the minutes and presentations that were done. But the best way is to either send your questions to the feedback@projectconnect.com about that, or even if you can attend the meetings. You see they're at 5 p.m. So we know most folks are off of work for the most part. And in the virtual world, it's a little bit easier since you don't have to drive home. You're kind of right there at your computer. So if you're able to participate, strongly encourage you to participate. Hopefully, did that answer your question?
Yeah, that site is really helpful and definitely gives me a better understanding of the timeline, at least as far as you understand it now, with kind of a meeting up until February 23rd of 2022. And so maybe,
It's going to be going longer than that too. That's just what we can show on that slot right now. They're going to be going as long as Project Connect is going. So that's not when they end. That's just as many as far out we could plan so far. And we'll have the other meetings on there as we move forward.
Yannis, I have another question. If Amanda, was that it? So a little more detailed on the engagement side. Thank you for the overview on the Community Advisory Committee. A little more zeroing in on geography. Do you guys do any sort of location specific engagement? I would imagine each neighborhood or community is very different from the next, to a certain extent. And so that's one of my questions. Their needs may be very different in terms of connectivity to other areas of the city and the county. So that's one question. And then the other one is around accessibility. So you mentioned some would be underground, some would be above ground. And so if you have any insight, or perhaps, it hasn't been determined yet, the extent to which there would be accessibility for folks who are disabled.
Sure. So your first question, that's what we've been doing, is going to where the people are, especially in time of COVID, as best as we can. We work with different neighborhood associations, different community groups. Whoever is having a meeting, we'll go there. We've hosted our standalone meetings, and we've advertised on different Hispanic and Black newspapers, different radio stations, of course, the Statesman, on our website, social media, what have you. But we will go to wherever there's a group having a meeting as well, and do a presentation, because we want to hear from everybody, because we do recognize that what you need in East Austin may not be, well, is not the same as what you may be looking for downtown Austin, Central Austin, West Austin, South Austin. And so if y'all have any churches, any community groups, any events, any fairs, we will show up and we will do a presentation. We know everything is virtual now, so that's fine. We can come to any Zoom, Teams, whatever you use, and do a presentation. And when we come back to being in person, we will show up to in-person meetings as well, to reach those communities that we want to hear from the most, because that's what's, we want to hear from those communities. It's easy to hear from the transit wonks, because they're always paying attention to what Metro's doing and having an opinion. But we want to hear from those communities, even where they are, to hear about that. When it comes to being accessible, all of this will be ADA compliant. We're taking into full thought about how we're gonna make sure this stuff is accessible, whether it will be, if it's underground, whether they have elevators or ramps. We're working with the disability community to see what they prefer, and what will be, I guess, most cost beneficial, and what can work. They may prefer a ramp, but it just may not be possible where it is, for whatever reason may be, or maybe a combination of ramps and elevators. And so we're going to make sure that everything we do will be ADA compliant. They will be accessible for everybody. And so, yeah, we take accessibility very, very serious. And we have a guy, Martin Carethi, who's our director of basic accessible services, who holds us accountable to making sure that what we're doing is accessible. And hopefully, and I know there was a question about pickup, the on-demand serve, the last mile. Yeah, they are already in effect. And I want to pause, resume share. There we go. They are already in effect. And I will show you. Here we go. All right, hopefully y'all can see my page still.
Yes.
Cool. So, and this is the capmetro.org/pickup. That is the website for that. We have them: South Manchac, Dessau, Pflugerville, Lago Vista, Leander, Manor, East ATX, which is in the Johnson-Sarasville Valley area, Walnut Creek, which is near St. David's, Exposition, and Northeast ATX, which is Springdale Raleigh area. The easiest way, I can click on all those and it will show you the service zone. There is also this one that will show all service zones, and even show some of the vehicles that are out there. Smaller. Zoom in. So all these different colors, and these are just buses we have out. So the Manor one, this one is Pflugerville, has one now as well. And that's something they're paying for. This is the Walnut Creek. This one over here, this is Northeast ATX. This is East ATX. That's the, God, what is this one called? It always slips my mind. I'll come back to to this one, what that one is called. This is going to
Is
be
it Rollingwood?
No, it's over Terrytown. What is that? That's Exposition. There we go. This is Exposition. This is the one that we will be launching towards the end of this month. This will be the North Oak Hill. This is the South Manchac that just launched at the beginning of this month. Here's Lago Vista, and here's Leander. And so those are the ones we currently have. We just created some guidelines for these. So next year we'll be reviewing all of these zones to make sure they're performing to a level that they need to see if there's anything we need to do to help the zone perform better if possible, or if it's just not performing and people aren't using it, then taking those resources and putting a zone somewhere else. And so it's a great service to have. It's a separate app you would need to download currently. If you go to your Apple Store, your Play Store, or whatever, and type in pick up by CapMetro, you'll see it. You can use it. If you don't have a smartphone, there is a phone number that you can call to book a trip, which is the 512-369-6200, and they will book the trip for you. These are currently running 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And starting this week, Monday through Friday, and starting this weekend, we will have Saturday service starting back up again in some zones, and creating Saturday service in those in zones as well. And so, like here, you can see some we have it in Dessa, where it'll be Saturdays from 10 till 6. Leander will have it from 10 till 6. Pick up East ATX will have it on Saturdays. Walnut Creek and Northeast ATX. So hopefully that answered the question about that. Was there any more questions in the chat or from anyone else?
I think Isela had a question. Isela, did you have a different question, or was it one of the ones already asked? Okay, did anybody else have any other questions for Yannis?
Yeah, I would like to ask something. I was wondering, like, do y'all anticipate this, these rail systems decreasing, like, travel time when it comes to buses, just because people can take the rails instead of buses if they have to go farther? Do y'all anticipate, significantly different travel times when it comes to like just bus trips?
Let me see if I got your question right. So are you asking is once we do the new light rail system where our bus travel times change any at all? Did I get that right?
Yeah, just
Okay.
from like a reduced load.
Sure. We still will have a high frequency network that we have now, where we have buses that come every 15 minutes. That's not going to change. The only thing that may change, see if I can pull up our system map. The only thing that would change is on the orange line, and I will pull that up so y'all can see that. On the orange line, currently,
You'll have to reshare your screen. You're not sharing anymore right now.
yes, ma'am. I'm gonna find it and get it up. For our orange line, which is running from, if you're familiar with our services now, the orange line will basically be our 801, which goes from North Austin to South Austin, Tech Ridge to South Park Meadows. Let's see if there's a system map in that presentation. There isn't. There's a system map in this presentation, though. Why am I doing it the hard way? Let's just go to the Project Connect website. And now I have it up for you so I can show you. But the way it's going to work is that the southern legs of the Here we go. That will work. And share screen. This. Okay. So this is the initial investment. And when you see these dotted lines, this is part of the whole plan, but the dotted lines will be done in the future. But for the orange line, as you can see from North Lamar Transit Center to Tech Ridge, is dotted because we won't have light rail running on that in this first phase of Project Connect. The road is owned by TxDOT, and so there's some work we have to do with them to get light rail running on there. So what we will do is have our current Metro Rapid bus that comes from here all the way to South Austin. It will work from North Lamar Transit Center to Tech Ridge, and we'll bump up that frequency where it may come like every 8 minutes instead of every 10 to 15 minutes. Same for the southern leg of it, where it will go from Slaughter Transit Center up to Stastny. That segment of the 801 would run every like 8 minutes or so. We would still have our 15-minute frequency, high frequency network that we running east to west and north south. Across here, like the 300 would still be doing every 15. The 7 would, the 3, the 2. So we will still have buses doing every 15 minutes. But there will be maybe some adjustment to the times they show up, just so they can try to match better with light rail or the train. But I do not see a decrease in any of our travel times for most of these routes. Like the 20, which runs from the Expo into here, which would be the Expo Metro Rapid, that could change because we now will be having a Metro Rapid bus coming every 10 to 15 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. And so that 20 wouldn't need to come every 15 minutes. It could, decrease in that aspect of, okay, well, if this is coming every 10 to 15, we don't need to have the 20 doing every 15. We may bump it down to every 30 minutes or so or what have you. And so there'll be some changes like that. There will be some adjustments, but nothing major where we'll get rid of the other 15-minute frequency buses. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. No problem. And yeah, this is the initial investment map. As you can see, this is where I mentioned the Expo and how it will, there we go, come into downtown. When you go to the website and you see these little circle, this is just showing you what's connected. So all purple is connecting to all Metro Rapids, purple and green, this will connect to a Metro Rapid in green. This is one of the tunnels that will be downtown where it's kind of connecting to everything. And so this is where the Pleasant Valley line would start and go, like I said, all the way down to South Austin, coming down Pleasant Valley, McKinney Falls to what is now the Goodnight. Here's the 803 extension that I was talking about, where it currently goes to, where is it? The North Lamar Transit Center, which is here. It would now be going here and to here. So we have a lot of plans for the city. The green line, once again, coming from downtown out to Colony Park. And then there's the red line, and of course the orange and blue. And that's one of the things that could happen is that the blue and the orange could interline, meaning you could catch the blue from the airport. And when you get downtown to the tunnel, we could have it set up where maybe you don't get off the blue line, and this blue line train you was on will go up to North Lamar Transit Center. We can interline them in different kind of ways, and so that would be kind of cool as well, giving us that flexibility and options to try to be as convenient as possible.
Yeah, and is the map that you're showing has some of the light rail lines like towards the ends of the lines, not starting until later, or like future extensions. And the
Right.
one that I'm looking at from your website doesn't have that, and it was adopted in June of 2020. I'm wondering how y'all have determined what is a future extension versus it's going to be part of this project or this phase of the project?
Sure. So what you're probably looking at is the system plan that was approved in June.
Yes.
And then that was about the time we started to shut down, right, across the country and the city. And so realizing that, due to COVID, people may not have an appetite to fund the whole thing right now. On the homepage of the Project Connect website, you will see at the bottom, you see the initial investment map. That's what I clicked on. So if you click on that, it gets to the initial investment. And so if you're looking at the map that says initial investment, it shows you now with the dotted lines, where this one will be a different phase. But we want to have one working Palmer to Lakeline, because we know this is where Apple, this is where Samsung and people are living. And so we want to get a Metro Rapid there. We want to have a Metro Rapid coming from Tech Ridge, coming down Cameron Road. We know that MLK is already doing a 15-minute frequency. We know it's going to need to be a Metro Rapid, and that's going to be one for the future. There's a crosstown one in downtown, and also over here on kind of the west side of Austin. And so, yeah, if it's a dotted line, it's going to be for the second phase. Even with the green line, we want to eventually have the green line going out to Manor and Elgin.
So what you're saying is that COVID sort of delayed some of these plans.
Some of it, yeah. We working with the city and listening to the community, we realized that full cost for Project Connect, folks may not have the appetite for last year because there was a lot of uncertainty with COVID, right? And so being respectful to the community needs, we looked at, okay, what can we do right now that we think the community would support, still be beneficial, still provide some good service. And, we'll look to come back and build these out later. And there could be or we could find some federal funds and end up being able to build this out. That could happen as well, or there could be some federal money and this gets built out. So, yeah, COVID kind of derailed the whole thing being done. But I think what we put together for the initial investment still is going to help serve a lot of people in the community.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so I guess we are right at time. Does anybody else have any last minute questions? Yannis, if we ever have any questions in the future, is it all right if we send you an email or
Yeah, feel
sharing
free to.
with us?
Feel free to. There's my email address. Feel free to shoot me any questions, or if you want somebody to do a presentation for a group you have, whether neighborhood, community group, church group, what have you, we are always happy to come out and talk to you. You can do feedback at projectconnect.com, and that will help it get scheduled. Or even if you send it to me, I'll give it to somebody. So whichever works for you. So yeah, feel free. We want, and please, if you're able to, I strongly recommend that you sign up for the working groups, which you can do on the Project Connect website. If I can click on the right one, you can go to the Project Connect website, projectconnect.com/get involved, and then you will be able to see where we have. Definitely, there's the virtual open houses, and so these go into a lot more detail than I could have in an hour. It takes about an hour just to do the orange line if I was trying to do that, and then so I couldn't do all of it. But you can do the virtual open houses, which is self-paced, and you can fill out any questions or thoughts you can have until August 27th. And then we have here we go, the working groups. Working groups we broke down the orange line and the blue line is different segments. North Line, North Lamar, North Drag, the Drag, Downtown, SoCo, St. Edwards, and Stastney, and South Line for the orange, for blue, Metro, Center, Airport, East Riverside, South Shore, and then it's a downtown combined for Orange and Blue. You don't have to live in that area. You just may have interest in one or more of those areas. If you go to projectconnect.com/get involved, you can click on this learn more button and it will get you to the working groups, and you can sign up to join a working group. And in the working groups, you will be able to, there'll be upcoming meetings happening, and we have our technical people who are there, so you can get a little bit more in-depth detail about what's happening with certain stops, what kind of amenities we'll be having, what is the roadway going to look like, and what have you. And so I strongly encourage you to get involved with one or more of these working groups, because it's a great way to have that contact and interaction with the developers.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And just in case anybody's watching on the recording and can't see the chat, Sebastian Puente with Cultural Strategies said, please feel free to contact me to help coordinate a presentation in English or Spanish. His email address is spuente, PUENTE, @cultural-strategies.com. So go ahead and email him if you'd like to schedule a presentation. But thank you again so much, Yannis, for this presentation. It was super helpful and for
Thank you.
answering all of our questions.
Not a problem.
you,
I
Yanni.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
so much. Thanks everyone for
Thank you.
joining us, and thank you, Senya, for putting all of this together. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Events Committee with the Health Champions, Elijah and Dr. Comstock and Catherine. Thank you guys so much, and happy Friday. See you guys soon.
Happy Friday, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Happy
seeing everyone.
Friday.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.